Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Yamaha Productions, and we're going to go over some of the reasons why I hate the MT-09. What you're looking at here is the 2021 base model MT-09 from Yamaha, of course, and what do I hate about it? Actually, there's nothing that I hate about it. I actually love it to death. I actually love it so much that I'm almost tempted to sell the R1, and I know people would think I'm crazy, but in Florida, there's really not many places you can use all that power in the R1 unless you go to a track. But with that being said, I probably won't get rid of the R1. It's just that this MT-09 is just that amazing. So here we go. Back in February, I picked up a Street Bob Harley Davidson 2021. I was really excited about it in the beginning. I bought a couple of things to fix it up, kind of personalize it for me, and it was just not that fun. After a few months, I had kind of buyer's remorse, and I was actually just kind of disappointed with the whole thing. I mean, to make that bike move, even though it had the 114 and was pretty beefy, I would have to invest at least 6 to 8 grand. And to me, it was really mind-boggling how a $15,000 motorcycle would need another $6,000 to $7,000 just to hit top speeds that an R1 could easily do for around the same price. So it was just a disappointment to some degree. So basically, I was not impressed at all, and I reached out to my buddy Tristan out in Seminole Power Sports here in Sanford, Florida, and I was like, brother, when you get an MT-09, please let me know. It was about a day or two later, he contacted me and said, man, we got one that just came in. You need to come check this thing out. I immediately ran up there, looked at it, and before I even sat on it, I was already wanting to put a deposit on it to hold the bike, because I knew that since it was one of the first ones released in Florida, that it was going to go quick. Fast forward, I ended up trading in the Street Bob, ended up getting the MT-09 that week, and let me tell you something, I have not regretted. Here in this video, you can see me riding through the open country. This is actually out towards Altoona, Paisley, Florida. In those areas, it's kind of next to the Ocala National Forest, just on the outskirts. And let me tell you, this thing handles amazing. I mean, from turns to just straightaways to just, even at a stoplight, taking off just feels so great. The center balance of this bike is amazing. So with that being said, it just makes it so easy to jump on this and feel at home, especially if you're already coming from a Yamaha name brand bike like the R1. It has some similar features, especially with the new Speedo that they have. Some of the controls as far as the toggles work and operate the same, but essentially this is a different bike. The R1 is an amazing machine. I mean, it goes from 0 to a bazillion miles an hour and at no hesitation, basically. I mean, I hit the gas and it moves. But with that being said, I'm really not the type that'll jump on the highway and do triple high digit speeds just for fun. I mean, that's not my way of riding. I love the fact that it's fast, but I do not want to get hurt because I got to go to work on Monday. So with that being said, the R1 has just a ton of power that I rarely use. But the MT-09 is something that I could jump on and use pretty much every day. And guess what? It moves pretty quick. I mean, I could easily do triple digit speeds at just a flick of the wrist. I mean, it's not a slow bike whatsoever. Not only does it handle well, but it gets up there in speed. So it's an amazing machine. And honestly, I wish I would have got it originally, because to back this story up, back in about 2018 when I got the R1, I was actually on the way to get an MT-09. Now, let's think about that. I was going to get the MT-09, but I ended up with the R1. Why? Because everybody thought the R1 was a much better bike, and honestly, they had a really good deal at the time. We were going into 2019. This bike was kind of like a leftover stock, new used, or not new used, but just new on the floor, but no one picked it up, I guess. So I was able to get a really good deal on the bike, and you know what? All my buddies were like, dude, get a leader bike, get a leader bike. Now, I already had a Gixxer 1000. I've ridden 636s. I mean, I've ridden every bike known to mankind. I had a Husky, a 401 Vitpillen, then I had the 701 Vitpillen. Riding bikes was not new to me. But with peer pressure and just because the R1 just looks so beautiful, I ended up getting the R1. And honestly, it's been a great bike. I've done a ton of stuff to it. If you look at it in the pictures just briefly in the video, you can see that I've put a lot of money and time into this R1. It's got carbon pieces, it's got brand new lights all the way around. I mean, it is hooked up and it looks great. Everywhere I go, people give me compliments and I'm super appreciative because I'm a really humble guy, but I love to have nice things. So with that being said, I was gonna get the MT-09 originally. I ended up getting the Yamaha R1, but something inside always, every time I'd see an MT-09 running down the road, I used to go, man, I want to get an MT-09. Man, I want to get an MT-09. So it wasn't until about I'd say probably like 3 or 4 months ago, I was going through YouTube and I ran across Blockhead's channel, which he's a local here in Florida. I've actually stood kind of next to him, and even though I didn't really talk to him, no offense, not because I didn't want to, but just because, because the opportunity wasn't there. And he was doing a segment on the previous version, Gen 2 MT-09, and how he liked it and all these things, and he was just talking about it. So I guess after watching the first few videos of that, it kind of got that MT-09 bug in my brain. Not only that, but I have a good friend of mine that rides the Z900, and he's always bragging about it. Now, he originally went to get the MT-09. He ended up getting a Z900 with the inline four. I mean, it looks great. I mean, he loves it a lot. But the MT-09 has always somewhat, some way, somehow, some shape have popped up in conversations, and so finally I pulled the trigger and I did it. And since I've done it, I don't regret it one bit. I mean, you can see in this video, I'm actually just cruising around and just having a blast. I'm by myself. There's nobody with me. These roads here in Florida where I went by the Ocala National Forest, they have some twisties. I mean, it's not like a track. I mean, and if I went way, way faster, I'm sure I could get a little more lean angle, but I'm actually taking these roads at a pretty decent speed. Obviously, the speed limit here is not what I'm doing. I'm going a lot faster, so there's always potential of a cop giving me a ticket that's hidden in the woods or in the bushes somewhere. But overall, this bike has been so much fun. I even was able to get with some of the guys at TST Industries, and they were fixing their web page and setting up to put all the parts for the MT-09, the 2021, on their webpage. And just by coincidence, I was able to talk to Mark, and he invited me in, and we were able to try out some of these parts and see if they worked, and they did. And man, it was such a cool experience to be there because I really admire them. I have a lot of their parts on my R1, and so they're just like a go-to when it comes to Yamaha aftermarket accessories with frame sliders and the levers and all that stuff. So I got the Womit Tech levers on this MT-09. I got new turn signals for the front that are super cool with halos and LED. I got this module that makes the rear light hyper flash when you're braking. Obviously, I got a frame slider package, and overall, just really, really good quality stuff. So since I've got the MT-09, man, it's just been a lot of fun. I even did a video when I installed the uh, Akrapovic exhaust, and thank you guys so much for all the likes and for all the views. Man, I ended up getting over 10,000 views on that video, and it's only been a couple of weeks. And trust me, I'm not a YouTube professional. I'm just doing this because I don't know, I've always wanted to try it. I was going to do it with the R1 and I never got around to it. So I figured, with the MT-09, maybe I'll try to, you know, videotape a little more, upload some content, and just share my opinion on the bike itself. And honestly, it's been a really, really fun experience. I mean, I can't really explain it or go into details, but motorcycles have really kind of saved my life in a sense. A few years back, I went through a weird divorce, and I fell in love with cycling, which you'll see in the videos. You'll see my bicycle in the background. I raced bicycles for a few years, and I just love anything on two wheels. We grew up in Texas, man. I always wanted a dirt bike. My dad ended up getting us a dirt bike, and we were able to ride that for a little while, and it's just been amazing to have motorcycles and bicycles in my life. And so for that reason is why I wanted to kind of document some of this stuff and make like little vlogs about it, because if you're looking for a bike, especially someone that's kind of like starting off or just wanting a great bike, the MT-09, MT-07 probably are the way to go. And for that reason, I hate it, because they are just great bikes. And with that being said, I want to thank you guys, because this has been a really cool adventure for me, grabbing this MT-09. Thanks to the guys at Seminole Power Sports. Thank you to Tristan. Thank you to TST Industries. And honestly, I'm looking forward to uploading more video content in regards to the MT-09. And I hope that you guys all enjoy them as well. I don't know everything. I'm not a pro, but what I know, I'll share with you guys. Have a blessed day, and thank you for watching my video.